Erik Halterman of RotoWire here with another trade tips video, and we have a theme this week, which is cashing in on some good starting pitcher picks you made while their value is at their peak, setting you up for the rest of the season. Let's start with Jacob deGrom, and props to you for having faith in him and correctly predicting that he is in fact not broken. He's got a 2.34 ERA and 0.98 WHIP through 12 starts. Looks great, but deGrom's last two starts have seen him strike out 0 and then just 4 batters while walking a combined 5. Those shaky outings haven't yet hit his ERA though, so the window to move him is still open, and I really would look to do so because those 2 starts were also 2 of his 3 lowest velocity outings of the season, and, not coincidentally, his 2 worst starts of the season by stuff plus. He's averaged 108 in that metric over his first 10 starts, never dipping below 101, but he was at 96 and 94 the last 2, so going from decidedly above average to a little bit below. Even if this is nothing more than a 2-start blip for deGrom, we do have to be worried about an eventual innings limit. He threw just 21 1/3 last year between the majors and minors after returning from surgery, and he's already at 69 1/3 this year. For comparison, look at Garrett Crochet last season. Crochet threw a very similar 25 innings in 2023 after returning from surgery, jumped all the way up to 146 last year. That would give deGrom about 75 more innings this year if he follows a similar path. That's about 15 to 20 innings less than what most of the projections are currently calling for. And remember back to Crochet last year, he was handled with extreme caution in the second half of the year. Wasn't really ever asked to throw 5 innings after the end of June. The Rangers are under 500 as I record this, and if they fall out of it further, expect the priority to shift to preserving deGrom for next season. Up next, we've got Kris Bubic, and again, another great pick you made. Nice work there. Bubic was a popular sleeper after he broke out in relief late last season after coming back from Tommy John surgery, and that was thanks to a new sweeper, which he actually added just before he got hurt, and that provided reason to buy in. And that's all been true this season. Bubic is throwing that sweeper 35% of the time, getting great results with the pitch and outstanding results overall. A 1.43 ERA, a 1.00 WHIP, a 27% strikeout rate. Bubic leads all qualified starters in ERA, though he's definitely getting a bit lucky. He's 19th in xFIP, 21st in Sierra. He's clearly over his head, although those are still very good rankings. The main issue here with Bubic is similar to one with deGrom. He's already at 75 1/3 innings this year. That's more than the 66 he threw all of last year between the majors and minors. Bubic has never thrown more than 130 innings in the majors even before his injury. Now, he's not slowing down at all. He hasn't even given up 2 runs in a start since April, so there's no reason to believe his value is about to evaporate. You might be able to use him for a few more weeks before starting to think about this move, but particularly if you're in a league with playoffs, Bubic is not a great bet to help you as much as you want in September. There's incentive to move him now before his slump begins, and he will eventually have some slump at some point. I've got 2 more names for you in a moment, but first, I wanted to remind you about RotoWire's new promo code. Use promo code YouTube15 at checkout for 15% off a RotoWire subscription. We've even got a link in the description to take you straight there. Back to the names, we've got Kodai Senga, another pick who's turning out quite well for you. Senga had a strong rookie year in 2023. That came with an 11% walk rate and a Sierra that was more than a run higher than his ERA, so it was hard to know how good he really was. And then he made just 1 start last year due to first a shoulder injury and then a calf injury. This year, Senga is off to a great start. He's got a 1.60 ERA through 62 innings, but it's got an 11% walk rate again, and a 23.5% strikeout rate isn't anything special. His underlying numbers, the ERA estimators, aren't all that exciting. A 4.18 xFIP, a 4.21 Sierra says that Senga is getting incredibly lucky with that 1.60 ERA. We also have the workload concerns with Senga. He threw just 19 1/3 innings, including rehab starts last year. That's even less than Jacob deGrom threw. Senga's going to face workload restrictions at some point, you would think, and he's also, again, one of the biggest regression candidates out there. His success so far has been based on suppressing homers. He has just a 0.4 homer per 9, but that's not due to a particularly high ground ball rate. 44% is right around league average there. It's just that his fly balls aren't leaving the park. If you look at his strikeout and walk numbers, which are the things that pitchers have the most control over, pitchers with a similar strikeout minus walk rate to his last year. We've got Frankie Montas, Ryan Feltner, Simeon Woods Richardson, Carlos Carrasco. Pitchers who have this kind of strikeout and walk ratio just don't generally find this kind of success long term. Also, should note here that Stuff Plus likes Senga's pitches a lot less than it did 2 years ago when he had all that success. The only above average pitch by that metric in his repertoire is his famous Ghost Fork, which is still doing well, but it's grading out much worse than it did in 2023. And finally, I would suggest to trade away Matthew Boyd. Now, I loved him as a boring veteran staff filler sort of starter this year, and it's worked out great through the first 2 months. A 3.08 ERA through Boyd's first 11 starts. And the ERA estimators don't trail that by too much. A 3.49 Sierra is still quite good. A 3.75 xFIP, that's perfectly fine too. But again, we've got workload concerns are the problem for Matthew Boyd, who hasn't made more than 15 MLB starts in a season since 2019 due to various injuries. He's already exactly matched his innings total, including rehab starts from last year. I don't really have any significant complaints about Boyd's underlying numbers the way I do with Senga's, but I do expect his ERA to rise as temperatures rise in Chicago. Wrigley in April and often May, when it's cold in May like it just was here in Chicago, is a great place to pitch. June and July, August, not necessarily the same park. That means the window to trade Matthew Boyd could slam shut in a month or so, and it could slam shut sooner than that if his persistent injury problems pop back up. There's been no sign of that, but with a guy who struggles to stay on the field like Boyd does, you never want to be too certain. Even if he stays healthy, I doubt he'll be allowed to get anywhere close to 170, 180 innings, so expect some management down the stretch, which, yet again, is a particular problem for those of you who play in leagues with playoffs. That's going to do it for today's video, but let me know in the comments if you're willing to part with any of these 4 guys, and let me know what sort of hitters you'd be willing to give up to get them if you think I'm crazy for trading them away.